So everything we've seen so far, he's loving it, look at him. Hello and welcome to Visordown and welcome to EICMA, also known as the Milan Bike Show. Now I'm at the Ducati stand, which as you can see is very busy. There's a lot of bikes here. There are 6 major reveals that Ducati has been doing in the lead up to EICMA, culminating in the 916 Panigale. We're going to go through each one and tell you what's special about it, and you can decide which one you want the most afterwards. Now for the first of the 6 bikes that Ducati revealed, it gets a bit awkward because that was the Monster 30th anniversary. This isn't that bike. But actually the Monster SP, very similar package because you have the Öhlins front and rear suspension, you have the lovely Termagoni exhaust, engine specs all the same, but you pay about £2,100 more for it. Comes in at about 16 grand. You also on that get gold forged wheels, which obviously go with the gold Öhlins forks very nicely. It's also 4 kilos lighter, which gives a dry weight of 164 kilos, so it's a pretty light bike. There's also an embroidered seat, which has the 30th anniversary logo on it, but again, can't show you that today. But onto a bike that is actually here. So reveal number 2 was the Multistar V4 RS Grand Tour. Now this is just a Multistar V4 RS with everything basically. So you get the Pani as a standard with the 60 litres of capacity. There's a special livery. There's a new seat for better long distance comfort. There's also additional heat shielding to make sure that your inner legs don't get quite as toasty as they might have done before, and that V4 engine does kick out quite a lot of heat. Other special stuff is there's 2 special modes for the suspension. There's something called an easy lift function. Key on, suspension drops right down so you can load stuff in easier. And to go with that, there's also a minimum preload setting function. So what this does is it lowers the rear suspension to, as you guessed, the lowest preload setting to get the back end a bit lower, so it's nice and easy for your pillion to get on there. Ducati hasn't forgotten about performance. I mean, obviously it's got that V4 engine, which is chuffing powerful. They've also got a rigid handlebar mounting system, so in the corners, once you've cruised on down to your alpine finishing point where you want to get nice and twisty on the roads, you'll have a more direct feeling. It'll just be a bit nicer to tip the bike in. At the ends of that rigidly mounted handlebar, you'll find heated grips, and on that subject, there's a heated seat too. So if your tour ends up somewhere a little chilly, you'll be well sorted. There's no such thing as a cheap Multistrada, so as you probably guessed, a Multistrada with kind of all the toys thrown in it is quite expensive. This is around about £24,000. We'll have the full figure kind of cropping up around here somewhere. This is also European exclusive. You can't buy this outside of the continent. Now, if you thought £24,000 sounded like a lot of money for a Ducati Multistrada, how about this? This is £32,000. Well, to be exact, I think it's £31,995. But yeah, it's the Multistrada V4 RS. Now, basically, this takes the Pikes Peak and stuffs a Panigale spec V4 engine into it, dry clutch and all, so that'll be happily chattering away as you pull up to your bike meet on your fancy, very expensive Multistrada. That Desmosedici Stradale engine is something you'll also find in the batshit Street Fighter V4, and here it makes 177 brake horsepower while also revving higher than the Gran Turismo V4 engine, topping out at a delicious 13,500 RPM. Again, out of the Pikes Peak, we have a 17-inch front wheel instead of a 19-inch because, you know, this probably isn't ever going to go off-road, so it makes sense to have a smaller front wheel just to make sure the front end is more willing to tip in and out of corners. Now those wheels are wrapped in Pirelli Diablo Corsa 4s, so super sticky rubber for a bike like this. It doesn't really make much sense. 8 horsepower BMW M SUVs. There's also some tweaked geometry. Some of that's carried over from the Pikes Peak, like the steering head angle. It's different bars, different grips. The peg positions have been tweaked slightly, so yeah, quite a lot of thought has been put into it, but yeah, you are made to pay for all that thought. So everything we've seen so far is kind of quite familiar. It's a different version of something we've already seen. This is something actually really different. I know it might look on the face of it like a Hypermotard 950, but look closer and you'll see it's a bit different. Particularly if you look down here, because that ain't no L-twin. This is a single-cylinder engine. It's Ducati's first single-cylinder engine for about 30 years. It's basically the old 1198 L-twin, but with a cylinder cut-off. Uses that same Super Quattro valve technology, and the result is something extremely powerful. So, depending on how you run it, you can get over 80 brake horsepower from a single cylinder engine, which is just nuts really. I think as a testament to sort of how popular it's been, this has just been mobbed with people constantly since we've got here. Like any other Hypermotard, we have 17-inch front and rear wheels. This has Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4 tyres. This is a really light bike with the exact weight. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there it's going to appear somewhere over there on the screen. You also get Marzocchi suspension with a fully adjustable fork and a whole host of electronics, including wheelie control, Ducati power lift, and an optional up and down quick shifter. The cornering ABS setup has something called slide by brake, which means even a noob should be able to control rear brake initiated slides. Lovely. It is £11,000 for the cheapest one. Yeah, and obviously it's a Ducati, so you can make it more expensive than that. The next reveal for Ducati was this, which is the Desert X Rally. Includes 20mm of extra suspension travel at each end from those KYB forks, so you get a whopping 250mm of travel at each end. There's also an Öhlins adjustable steering damper. As before, got 108 brake horsepower from that L-twin engine, because you didn't really need to fiddle with that. That was already a pretty strong thing. There's an off-road focused 21-inch front, 19-inch rear wheel combination as on the regular Desert X, but here the wheels are lighter and wrapped in blocky Pirelli Scorpion tyres with inner tubes. The 6 riding modes, meanwhile, have been recalibrated to suit the Desert X Rally's greater off-road focus. Price for this is $18,995, so it makes it, a good chunk of change more than a Desert X, but it's going to be a whole lot more capable. Word of warning though, this isn't for shorter riders because the seat height, thanks to that extra squish in the suspension, is 910mm. For the 6th and final reveal, Ducati had something pretty special up its sleeves. This is the Panigale V4 SP2 30th Anniversary 916, and as you probably expect from the name, it's celebrating the iconic 916 Ducati, possibly one of the greatest Ducatis of all time. It echoes that of Carl Fogarty's machine, which he used to win the 1999 championship. Now to do that, we get this special livery. Now there's this black portion here, which echoes the little chunk of carbon fibre that you can see between the fairing and the tank on Foggy's bike. Plenty of mechanical stuff to go with that as well. The engine has been left alone for the most part, but come on, the V4S engine is a mighty thing, so it didn't really need much fiddling with. The wheels are particularly special. These are carbon fibre 5-spoke wheels, front and rear. Additional lovely details include a fuel cap and triple clamp made from billet aluminium, and the latter part is laser engraved with the model name and the serial number. The price for all this is £37,195. Now you can scoff all you want at that chunky price tag, but it's kind of irrelevant because that didn't put anyone off. All 500 units sold out extremely quickly. So there we have it. 6 models over a few months, covering a bit of everything really. You've got off-road, desert bashing lunacy, we have the first single cylinder Ducati in 30 years, we have super bikes, we have adventure bikes, something for everyone. Which is your favourite? If you could have any of these 6 new bikes from Ducati in 2024, which would you go for? Let us know in the comments down below. Now if you want to see more stuff from EICMA, the Milan Bike Show, do make sure you subscribe to Visordown, tickle that bell icon, and also go to visordown.com. We'll have even more stuff from the show.